this is Carrie from Wrap Your Head Around Silks. This is the Expecting Ariels podcast, now with the Digit Network. How's it going, guys? Hope you're having an amazing day. I'm here with a bean. Would you like to say anything to the listeners? La la la. Hello. Would you like to say hello? La. Okay. Well, wrap your head around silks. What's going on? So always we hit the mat Monday and Thursdays for Roll It Out. We do foam rollers and balls. I guide you. We have a ball on Zoom. I would love to meet you. You also get a free 4-inch massage ball just for signing up. It's affordable. I want to get to know you guys as well. So please join me there. Hey, let Mama do it. So we also have a comprehensive course, beginner to intermediate. If you're one of those people that kind of goes in and out of the training, it helps to have a digital, digital textbook there with everything. And it's lifetime access, so you'll always have it. And then we have Aero Rehab, which is meant to serve that time between PT and your favorite aerial class. It gets all those things back, all the very specific skills that we do in the air. And then there's a free mini course if you just want to check out my teaching style, no commitment. All right, my friends. Okay, today we have Anna Novene. And she is coming from the Austin area. She is 3 months postpartum with her first baby girl, and she had a natural birth. Now, if you are interested in the natural birth part, it's the second half of the interview. We kind of deep dive. Pregnant. Oh yeah, Bean was playing like she was pregnant. She put a backpack on the front of her, and then she gave birth on the floor here during our episode. And so the natural birth talk we do in the second half. I'll leave a time code in the show notes if you want to just go straight to that. And but we also do talk about, she is 25, and we talk about the difference between Gen Z millennials and Gen Xers and how they've decided to prioritize their life, career, babies, family differently. And it's so intriguing to me, which is why I asked her those questions, and we kind of got into it a little bit. This is a great story and a great conversation. Can't wait for you guys to hear from Anna. Let's get started. Oh my goodness, Anna. I'm always impressed when people come on this podcast when their squish is so fresh, because it is a balancing act.
It hasn't been too crazy for me, to be honest. I haven't quite gone back to teaching or working yet, so I've just been doing the stay-at-home mom life. And my husband works from home, so he can pop in and take the baby and give me breaks when I need them and things like that.
Anna, how old is your baby?
She is now, I should have my weeks. So she's 3 months on the 4th.
So you're in fourth trimester still. You're at the very end of it.
I just finished the 4th trimester. So yeah, she is 14 or 15 weeks.
Okay. I'm going to ask you about these last couple months, and then we'll go back. Okay. But how is it going?
Just in general?
Yeah. How's it going? Like, are you delirious, or are you getting some sleep?
Sleep has been good. So I would say overall it's been really good, but sleep especially is not too bad. We bed share, so she sleeps with me, and honestly, since day one, that's just made it really easy for us. It's worked really well for us. I just wake up and feed her, and then we both go back to sleep.
Sounds dreamy. I was never planning on co-sleeping with my kid before the kid came, and then she refused.
Oh.
She was like, I must be near you, on you, every second of the day, even now. That's my kid. So sweet. That's my kid. I wouldn't have it any other way, though. I mean, it's like, we have so much fun snuggling. Snuggling's the best.
It is. I do. I look forward to going to sleep and sleeping next to my baby. It's so sweet.
So sweet. Is this your first kid?
This is my first baby. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's go back. Anna, if you would introduce yourself. So full name, where you live, a little bit about your family, a little bit about your aerial practice, and then we'll jump into your into like the beginning story of having this child.
Yeah, so my name is Anna Ballo, but on social media and different places, I go by Anna Novene. That's my middle name, Novene. Um, my husband and I have been married for, I guess it's been almost a year and a half now. I wonder, we got married 2 Novembers ago, so we just had our first anniversary. Um, my mom lives here in Austin. A few of my aunts. I don't have a huge family outside of that, just kind of the near and dear ones. And then as far as aerial, I was pretty lucky. I got to start doing aerial when I was 12. I started here in Austin. It was really cool. There was a studio in town that I could start taking classes from, and started and just never stopped. I just knew, like, from the moment I saw my first aerial show, I was like, that's what I want to do.
Well, how old are you now, Anna?
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm 26.
You're 26. So you've been doing aerial.
Sorry, 25.
25. So you've been doing aerial for over 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And now you teach. You teach at a studio right now?
I do. I teach at a couple of studios, Blue Lapis Light and also Jungle Movement Academy.
Oh, I love it. Austin has like a thriving aerial scene, huh?
It's pretty big, especially in the last 10 years, it's really exploded. Like when I first started, there was really just one main one. And then since then, there's like 3 or 4 big studios, and then there's tons of pole studios that are also starting to have aerial classes. And then, yeah, it's just taken off in Austin.
Okay, I love this. All right, so let's go back because the way I found you was on the Facebook page for all of us, prenatal and postpartum.
Oh,
And
yeah,
yeah, that's how I found you. And I think you were commenting on like training prenatal. So was this a planned pregnancy?
this was.
Okay,
Yes.
so tell me about that. Was it easy, not so easy, longer than you thought, quicker than you thought?
Yes, all of that.
Yeah, please tell.
All of that. Yeah. So easy in the sense that I guess I never got completely, like, even towards the end, I never got super sick of being pregnant. So, and I didn't have any of the crazy symptoms a lot of women would talk about. Like, I had some morning sickness in the beginning, the quote unquote morning sickness that actually lasts all day. But that went away second trimester and then never came back. I didn't have to deal with any crazy swelling or um, yeah, anything like that. So it was much easier than I expected in that sense, but definitely the longest 9 months. I mean, it's challenging to be so used to. I think I was teaching, I was definitely teaching 5 or 6 days a week, not necessarily all day. It would be between 1 and 3 or 1 and 6 classes per day. Um, but to go from that to like, well, at first, just slow down on what I was doing in class. So I stopped demonstrating most things towards the end of the second trimester, stopped doing any drops or anything around 14 weeks. Um, so just really slowing down on aerial was one of the hardest things after being so active. But I also think it was good for me to slow down.
Yeah, what did you learn during that time? Because, well, I'll just say when I was pregnant the one and only time, I taught up until the day I went into the hospital. I did not
Wow.
do any aerial though after 20 weeks because I had a low lying placenta. So they told me I was on pelvic rest.
Oh,
Yeah. So
interesting.
they wouldn't even let me like pick up grocery bags. I was like, well, this isn't what I planned, but okay. So I taught, I just didn't do.
Yep.
What did you learn during that time as a teacher?
I learned that yoga Barbie and a miniature silk go
So
a
useful.
very long way.
Yes, agree.
Um, but seriously, one of my students lent me her yoga Barbie that bends at all the joints and stuff, and I used her um, pretty religiously. She was great. Um, had to get even better verbally coaching, things that I couldn't show, especially if it was something I was showing for the first time. Uh, yeah, just kind of adapting my teaching style around not demonstrating. And it was very humbling, like taking yourself out of that spotlight, so to speak, as the demonstrator and teacher
Mm-hmm.
and being more of like a guide.
Yes. How did the students take it? Because a lot of students, I'm not talking about like new students, but like students that I have had for a little while, they were a little bit resistant to it. But man, they grew so much too. Because are you a dancer as well, by any chance?
Not
I'm a dancer.
You're a dancer. That's right. You take ballet
your
class.
dancer. I guess we're all dancers, really. I, I didn't grow up taking proper dance, but in my adult life, I've taken some ballet and I really enjoyed that.
I feel like dancers have over time built like a skill set for being able to take direction verbally. And a lot of
Yes.
my aerial students don't have that yet. And they were kind of resistant to building that. But when I was pregnant, they got really good at it. And it
Mm,
really builds a student to me, I think. I think it really like benefits them
yeah.
actually.
No, yeah, you're totally right. So I would say, fortunately, a lot of the students that I was working with, I had been working with weekly for the past 2 to 3 years. So, like, these were regular students of mine. Um, and most of my classes at that point were the more level two, level three. So I didn't have a ton of beginners. So these students already had established the same sort of vocabulary around silks. Like I had established what that was, and we spoke the same language. So that helped a lot. That kind of groundwork was already laid out. Um, but yes, it did force them to grow even a little bit more and like listen. They had to, use more of the like listening to verbal cues for what to do rather than seeing and copying quite so much. But again, since a lot of them were my previous students, I could use students for demonstrations or grab another coach and that was nearby and pull them over for something if I really needed a demo.
For the ladies out there who are tuning in to kind of find out how it felt to do any type of training when you were pregnant, um, the inversions, the fatigue. Tell me your experience and keep in mind that they are curious for that reason.
Honestly, business as usual up until second trimester for me. Um, First baby, and so my abs had never stretched before, so everything was still nice and in place, and baby's really really small in those first weeks. So as far as my ability early on, it stayed pretty much the same. I had a few performances, different things like that. But the fatigue, yeah, I kind of forgot until you just said that. In that first trimester, the fatigue is pretty intense, or at least it was for me. Just so tired, taking lots of naps. And even though I could still train at the level I would have pre pregnancy, I was so tired. So I really didn't, like, I just didn't have the energy to. And then come second trimester, you know, that sickness and fatigue goes away, but it's like, okay, now it's time to start dialing things back. So that was kind of my experience there with the fatigue and whatnot. And yeah, I looked and read different things online to know kind of when the best cutoff was for dynamic things and drops. Because that was one line I wasn't super sure about. And I kept seeing like somewhere around 14 weeks. And so that's what I did at 14 weeks. I was like, okay, no more drops at all. But inversions felt fine for a long time. And what really surprised me is even into the second trimester, a lot of it felt fine, like felt normal. But, well, here, let me say this. It didn't feel fine and normal completely. I kept getting this interesting sensation in my abs, like right on my midline near my belly button, that was kind of concerning. So that's kind of when I called it on any inversions or like mainly core intensive type moves, if that makes sense. Um, I still could do them. Like I could still do so much, but I was getting this weird feedback from my body and from my abs in particular, where it was like, oh, this is like a weird kind of prickly, tingly, stretching sensation. Like it felt like my abs were kind of separating. And I was like, okay, I couldn't really find much online. Like I kept trying to research this sensation and be like, is this normal? Is this something I need to, is this a sign I definitely need to stop what I'm doing? Didn't see a whole lot. I mean, it seems like the main advice is listen to your body.
I feel like what you're talking about is really like high level awareness of your body.
Maybe so.
Maybe other women might have felt it, but they couldn't describe it, and then also communicate that, and then make somebody make a study about it, or somebody like post it on the internet.
Why, look, I'm pregnant.
She keeps on playing that game. Like she put a backpack on like the front of her and put a blanket on. She's like, "Mommy, I'm pregnant."
Oh.
Oh my God. She asked for an younger sister the other day, and I categorically said no, because I'm not a spring chicken. Look, she's doing it.
Oh, that's so cute.
Are you pregnant? Are you
Put
pregnant
one
with
of your babies in the backpack?
Yeah, she's been doing all the things. She's got like 3 babies in her bed over there. Yeah, I love that awareness, and really it is listen to your body, especially with this population, because we know our bodies better than like even the like practitioners that we see, our chiropractors or our doctors and stuff, and they can only tell us like half the picture. We have to kind of put it together ourselves. So was there any emotion around like having to subtract from your practice, or were you like rational and patient, unlike most of us?
No, I would say it was definitely very emotional. I mean, you know you're gonna have to cut back or stop completely, you know that all along and leading into it. But yeah, aerial's been such a big part of my life and it's been my career for the past 4 or 5 years. So it's definitely hard to take a step back and welcome in a new priority, and learn your body in a different way, kind of scary way, because it's the unknown, especially with your first baby. It's like, okay, my body is my work, it is my life, and now I'm gonna sort of submit to this thing that has to happen in order for this new chapter of my life to start. And absolutely, it's scary, it's emotional, but
I have 2 babies. I have 2 babies.
Are you gonna give birth to the babies?
It's twins.
She laid down on the floor. Look, she's gonna give birth soon. Oh my goodness. Why she's too like aware of things. I don't understand. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Bean.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Okay, let me finish. That's very nice playing though. Good job. You're very creative.
I have to eat something nice.
You have to eat. I get it. You have to feed yourself. You have to grow those babies. Okay. So
Yep.
what are the emotions about going back to your practice? Have you gone back into the studio yet?
Yes. I actually went back for the first time at 5 weeks from day one, doing like diaphragmatic breathing and transverse abdominal contractions, those kind of very, very soft, very slow, reconnecting with your core type exercises from day one postpartum, because I did a lot of research during my pregnancy on how to recover and how to do it safely and how to do it properly, and got started with those things right away. So for the first 5 weeks, I just really took it slow. It's amazing how quickly your body comes back together and heals. And fortunately, I had a uncomplicated vaginal birth, so I didn't have any severe tearing or a C-section to recover from. That would obviously have been a much longer recovery, but yeah, I got back in there at about 5 weeks, and I was actually completely astonished. Even I could already invert at that first day back, so that was really encouraging. But I didn't go crazy. Kept it really simple, really easy, just kind of feeling my way back into some nice lower level stuff. Did a bunch of spinning because I love spinning, and I felt like a little kid on the playground again. It was just like,
Is that what you missed the most?
that was one of the things for sure. I love spinning.
You know what I missed? Like, in such a specific way. I missed being able to lay down in a straddle on the floor.
Like on your belly, like a
yeah, forward fold. Yeah, like a pancake. The first time I was able, like, and there was nothing there anymore. Like, there's no baby there anymore. The first time I did it, I was like, oh, this is like glorious. I don't know what it was.
Oh my gosh, I've never been that flexible, actually. I've never been able to lay my belly all the way down on the floor in a straddle. But I thought I was gonna feel that way about laying on my stomach again after
like
being
sleeping
pregnant.
on your belly type of thing.
Yeah, because I used to be a stomach sleeper.
Mm.
And then adjusted to side sleeping and, back sleeping early in pregnancy, but then just side sleeping at the end. I don't know. I didn't have that like, yes. And even now, especially since I sleep with my baby, I just still don't sleep on my stomach. So it's so weird. I used to never be able to fall asleep on my back or side, but now I can.
Yeah, I mean, now I can sleep on command too.
Yes.
I couldn't do that before. Now I'm like, I gotta go sleep right now or else I'm not getting it. Boom, I can do it. It's like a skill set.
Yeah. This is your chance. Go, go, go.
Go, gotta do it now. I mean, that's not always easy. Like, my partner still, like, he's got a pocket. If he doesn't fall asleep during that time, it's not happening. I'm like, man, didn't you train yourself when she was little? Come on. But it's not possible for everybody. Anna, I do a lot of these interviews. People are having babies at all ages, between 20-ish, and I had one who, she was 17 when she had her first baby, all the way up until like having her first at like 42 or 43 years old. And there is a commonality, like the women who are having babies in their 20s, the complications are just less, like anecdotally. It's just like the chances are just better. When were you married? Or are you married? I should ask.
Yeah, we got married.
2 Novembers ago, you said.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me if this is what you find. I feel like of the last 20 years, what I experienced from most of my friends, not all, some got married in their 20s, early 20s. Also taking into consideration that I moved to LA, and most of the people who move here are putting their career up front. They're not putting the idea of a family or relationship up front. So there's that. But I feel like people who are closer to their 40s and in kind of the life track that I had, got to this point where they put their career first and then ended up being freaked out at like 38 because they hadn't thought about having kids yet, or maybe they weren't in a relationship yet. And then all these stories of like infertility and IVF and not finding the right partner and this and that. And then what I'm finding now, at least in the stories that I'm hearing, is that you're Gen Z, right?
I am Gen Z.
That it feels like there's a bit of the opposite happening with Gen Z.
I've noticed that as well.
Like going back to let's put this first in the 20s, family. Do you have any insight on why I might be seeing that and why you're seeing that?
The one thing I might think is just that we do, as Gen Z, have the millennial generation that has set that example for us. You know, we kind of, as we've become adults and entered adulthood, see some of the suffering maybe that the millennials are going through. Where waiting too long, prioritizing career too long, and then having so much trouble.
Maybe it's that clear. Yeah.
Because I definitely, so there was that, and then also just like listening to different speakers and podcasts talking about like, no, you should have kids like while you're young and while you can, if that's what you want. Like if you want a family, like do it. And I was like, wow, like that just really struck a chord with me. It's like, well, I do want a family, and I do want, you know, to continue having an aerial career and being able to teach and perform and do aerials. And it really felt like the best time to have kids would be while I'm young and while, you know, like cognitively and physically I could handle that, not only having the kids, but then, you know, raising them and taking care of them and keeping up with them and things like that. I was like, okay, well, I'd rather do that while I'm younger.
Yeah, I mean, the body 100% wants to do it younger. I mean, I think in biblical times it was like 16, 17. They just pop them out, recover 2 seconds later. Even recovering from a hard workout at my age versus when I was your age, it's a huge difference. And now it still is doable, obviously.
True.
So it is interesting to me. I feel like I'm not a cusp, but I'm like still Gen X. Almost my experience would model a millennial more because I decided to push. Push it. Career is so important. College, career, all the things. Lots of Gen Xers did what you guys are doing. So I think, yes, is the experience of this millennial generation of like all the stories of like women in a corporate setting. I'm not in a corporate setting, right? I did it for a physical career. I did it for my dance and my aero career. But women in a corporate setting, freezing their eggs, there's so many stories about that. Like freezing your eggs just so you could climb a ladder. And I feel like we've seen a lot of the holes in that plan.
Yeah, that's got to be a hard position to be in. I think college and like pursuing a career also kind of changed leading up to Gen Z entering college potentially. At least for me, it seemed like the value of a college education had kind of diminished in certain ways.
Yes.
It wasn't what it used to be, and you heard so many stories about people going to school and dedicating their lives to it only to not use their degree when they got out.
Yes. Well, and then going into massive debt because of it.
And being in massive debt.
You know, Gen Z is going into those 18, 19-year-old years and being like, what's the point? Like, what is the point? Like the old structure just doesn't work into today. And I think we're seeing the effects of that. Now, I don't know tons of people who are your age, but the ones I know, there is definitely a learning of all of that in a different direction. I also feel like millennials, some of them are completely dropping out of dating, like 100% dropping out of dating. They don't, like if it happens, it happens. There's no goal. Whereas maybe the younger millennials and then people in my generation, it's like, this race to 39 and 40 to find a person that you can stand. And then
and that's
having
so
a kid
tough.
really quick.
It's like by that point, most people are pair bonded, I feel like, by that age. So the pool is just so much smaller.
Yes.
And then whoever is left, like maybe there's a reason they're not pair bonded, or like a reason the first marriage or whatever didn't work out, So yeah, as you get older, it just gets harder and harder to find someone, especially that right someone.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's possible. I also know lots of women and men who are friends of mine, and I think to myself, well, it makes sense that they're single because you have to compromise. You have to make sacrifices to be in a partnership. You can't just like do your own thing constantly.
Yeah.
Or unless you're going to have a pretty unhappy marriage. So, there are people who are not meant to be partnered, because it comes with a whole bunch of things. I love not planning for these things, Anna, because it allows us to have like, that's what I grabbed onto with your conversation. I'm like, okay, here's a woman who has this particular priority in mind and doing it right and doing the research. And when you are your age and healthy and you do the research, you end up with a good outcome. Like your body is doing quite well. It's amazing.
I also have to add to that is not just my own research, but I feel so lucky and so grateful to have the community that I do at Jungle Movement at the gym I work at. There are just so many other moms there that while I was, just in the throes of baby fever and thinking about getting pregnant, or when I got engaged and then married, or whatever, they were around me giving me advice, sharing their stories, sharing their resources. A lot of the research and things I was able to learn about are because they shared that with me. And, a lot of them are older moms, and I think I really do feel strongly about natural unmedicated birth and what that can do for your ability to recover. That's the path that I chose, and so right for me and so magical to have her at home and just be totally safe and comfortable in my home having her. And I feel like that helped my recovery tremendously. And then these moms, right? What I was going to say is these moms had these experiences in hospitals and stuff with their first babies where, they just kind of trusted the medical system. They were like, okay, doctors have my best interest in mind. And I'm just like, when you get pregnant, you have a baby, you just go to the hospital. And ended up just having these really traumatic experiences, like unnecessary interventions, unnecessary C-sections, whatever it was, that they then were like, oh my God, that was terrible. I don't want that. Is there another option? And then, they did the bulk of the research of like home birthing or alternative birthing or whatever it is, and were able to share that with me, and I didn't have to learn the hard way.
Did you give birth in a pool at home?
I didn't. I did do some laboring in the tub, but ultimately my water had been broken too long by the time it was time to give birth, and I couldn't get back in the water.
Anna, if you could describe the level of pain during your unmedicated birth, how would you characterize?
It was the hardest thing I've ever done, for sure. It was very intense. Yeah. I mean, I, when you start looking into like natural birth and free birthing and that whole side of things, you might start learning about people who have these like quote unquote pain free births and like even orgasmic birth experiences.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I kind of set myself up for expecting it to be kind of like that. Like I did not go into it really that worried. And I think that was good. I think that helped because it was not that for me. Yeah, pain level definitely, definitely on the high end.
How long were you laboring?
Laboring, like experiencing contractions, it was like 3 days. But that was because I ended up needing to take castor oil to induce. And that seemed to work the first day. And then my body just kind of stopped and shut down for a whole nother day, even though I was still having contractions. On the third day, we were like, okay, let's take some more castor oil because things are not getting going again and we need to move things along. So on that third day, I took more castor oil and she came, but like.
And how did you take it? Are you just ingesting?
Yeah, I made like,
a salad?
at first I made like a smoothie and then eventually I was kind of trying to creep up on how much I needed to take. I think the typical dose is 4 tablespoons. And so I kind of started with like 2 tablespoons in a smoothie and drink that slowly over the course of a few hours. And then when that wasn't taking effect, I ended up just taking a shot of castor oil and washing it down with some juice or something. The actual pushing phase was very short. Like on that third day, I mean, I started taking castor oil at like 6 a.m. and then contractions started sometime around 11 or 12. And then baby girl was here at 3:30. Like she was born at 3:29. So it was only 3 or 4 hours on that third day from like going back into labor and then baby is here. So it was relatively short and fast.
For that part. What was the most painful part? Was it like ring of fire, what people talk about, or was it just the length of it and the fatigue of it? Was it more spread out, or would you say there was a moment where it was like, this is the worst?
Definitely the worst part is pushing the head out. You know, pushing that baby's head out is tough. Her head was also kind of angled in a suboptimal way, so it was a little bit bigger than it might have been. The circumference, at least. I don't know if I would describe it for me as a ring of fire, because what I had expected was that it would just be such an intense sensation that I wouldn't really feel that part at all. But for me, it was very fixed points. Like I could feel the points that had to stretch and even tear a little bit, even though I didn't even end up with any second degree tears. It was like less than first degree tears. It was amazing. I feel like that could be because I was on all fours. That was the position I knew I wanted to be in from the beginning, and that's the position I ended up in. No, I remember I said it out loud to my birth team. I was like, I thought I wasn't going to be able to feel this, but I can feel it. This is crazy.
Does it feel like your ass is just exploding? Like I've heard that too.
I've heard that too. No, for me it was very localized to the area.
So like the vagina and the taint, probably. Like that space right between.
Yeah. And it was pretty intense. But then, yeah, once you push the head out, the rest is easy.
She has a pretty big head. And I ended up with a C-section, so I was pretty happy that like
Yeah, you didn't have to experience that.
Yeah, and I don't plan to have another child. So here we go. I will not be experiencing that. But Anna, are you guys imagining that you'll have a bigger family than just the three of you?
Yes, we'll definitely have one more and then see how we feel after that.
Okay. Look at this. Look at these youngins figuring it out way before. I am convinced that like people saw my generation and were just like, oh hell no. Y'all.
I definitely feel like, yeah, y'all paved the way. I mean, yeah, setting the example not only as like, okay, these people, what is their experience of life when they put career first and
Yes.
really just only
Yes.
focus on career
Yeah. Yep.
during those, what I would say are prime child rearing years
Yeah.
potential, for your body and whatnot. So learning from that example. And then, yeah, for me, learning from the example of the moms who went through the hospital system and then had the experiences they had and then decided that they wanted natural home births and then being able to learn from them and even know that that was an option. And
Yeah. My brother, who's 6 years younger than me, when I was in high school, like he basically watched in horror how I did it with my parents. Like we were just fighting the whole time. He told me later. Did he tell me later, or did I just figure it out? He's just like, "Oh, I'm not doing it the way you did it. You messed up. Like it was a
oh
terrible
my
experience,
gosh.
and I don't want to ever have an experience like that." Not that everybody's doing it the same. There's plenty of people who are like kind of doing a hybrid where they really focus on a
Yeah,
career until 30 maybe, or until
right,
33, and then they switch. But
right.
yeah, I have a lot of girlfriends who are at 40, 41, 42, 43, and they just never found it, and now they don't have kids. They've come to terms with it, but it's definitely not what they had planned for themselves.
Really. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of that happening, or just infertility at any age too. Because if you find out you have unexplained infertility at the age of 25, you have time to do all the work that it takes to figure out how to have a kid, whichever way.
Right. And thank goodness we have the technology we do these days. I mean, it is pretty
Yes,
miraculous.
it is, and it's possible for people, but you do have to have some time, or else there's also adoption and such. I do have friends
Hmm.
too that have turned down both those ideas in their 40s because now the question becomes, am I going to be around for the kid?
Yeah.
That question comes in too. Yeah, very interesting. My business partner, she was one of those that had kids pretty young, and so my kid's 4.5, and her oldest are like 21 and 24.
Wow.
And her two oldest just got engaged. One got married. I'm pretty sure she's going to be a grandmother quite soon. We're the same age. So,
Wow. Yeah,
yeah,
what a difference
what
in
a
yeah,
difference. Yeah.
life phase and experience.
You know what's unfortunate though? It's unfortunate how many careers those years, like 20 to 30. Okay, I'll give you an example. I wanted to be two things in my life. I wanted to be, I'm a mom being the third actually in my list of priorities, but I wanted to be a dancer. I wanted to go into politics. I had a political science degree, and then eventually wanted to
Oh,
have a family. My choices that I was choosing between was either leave DC and leave the career that I put myself on because I got a really great first job. I wanted to work at the White House. Like I wanted all that. But then being in politics at that age, like you hear about these people that worked in the White House and they were like 22 years old working in the White House because it's the type of jobs that you get paid so little and there's no time for anything else. You're there for
yep.
60, 70 hours a day or a week, and then you're paid so little you can barely pay your bills. But that's the age you do it because or if you work on a campaign, you're able to like live on ramen and
Mm,
you know what I'm saying, and peanut butter. And then
yeah.
dancing is the same thing. It's like if you don't do it young, you don't do it at all.
Yeah.
And then the same with like having a kid young. Like if you don't do it at this time, you're going to have complications. And it's so unfair to me.
I know having to make those choices. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes there's only room for one dream at one time.
Yeah. And I also feel like a lot of women maybe felt scared that they couldn't do both.
Yes, yes.
Where I definitely felt that fear, but now coming through my first pregnancy and being like, wow, okay, like I can do that. And now I still have all of life ahead of me,
Yes.
they really only need you so, so intensely in the beginning, you know? So like first 5, 6 years, you know, they need you so intensely. But the older they get, and especially like if you lay down the like strong bond and the groundwork in the beginning, like they need you less and less as they get older. And then eventually there's going to be no more kids in your house at all, you know? And I just feel like I've kind of had that in the back of my mind that like this doesn't mean like I don't have to choose. It doesn't have to be mutually exclusive, and there's going to be time later for other pursuits.
Yes, yes.
But I also didn't have like a other than aerial, I didn't have a career that I was in the throes of pursuing. You know, like I wasn't in the middle of a degree. I didn't have any other passions or like other things calling me that I had to choose between. So,
and luckily I actually got both my dreams. I got 2 out of the 3. And I think that's really, really lucky. I just think it's interesting because it is a huge opportunity cost. If you choose one, you give up to a certain degree another for at least amount of time. You know, no matter what we do.
Yeah, in the grand scheme, it's a little bit of time, but it's like, it's also a long time.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I've said to people the same argument, you know, people who are maybe more in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and they're like, well, you're telling me you can't pivot at 50 and do something else? That's not true either. You know, you can have a completely different chapter. You could have 3 more chapters if you want. It's just depends on, you know, your dreams, your goals, and what you want to put into it. So it's not necessarily either or either. I just...
but it feels that way.
It can feel that way when you're making a big choice.
Yeah, especially like when you're thinking about having kids and you don't have them yet. It's like, it really does feel like either or forever.
It also feels like, okay, even if it's not forever, I'm putting this other thing off for maybe 7 years. You know, and that can feel a certain way. I have friends who went to medical school when they had like already 3 kids and they're small kids, and oh my God, it's so hard, but then they did it, you know? So people are doing it all over the place. It just, I remember those years when I was just dancing, and I was so single-minded, and the things that I was able to accomplish because I had one goal in mind is just, it really helps to be able to focus, you know, on whatever that thing is. So anyways, thank you for letting me spit my brain out at you on this topic, Anna.
Absolutely. Yeah, anytime.
I love it. Do you have any advice for the ladies out there going through anything like having a baby, getting back into their practice, training during the pregnancy, anything you'd like to focus on?
Making the choice to be a mom and have a baby is one of the most beautiful, wonderful experiences. Watching your body grow and change it's hard, and it has its ups and its downs, but it really is beautiful, and you learn about your body in so many new ways. I've found that my body awareness has grown even more. So, you know, don't be scared. Go for it. It's change and it's hard, but you never, after big changes, want to go back and undo them. I would never go back and undo it. It's wonderful. And then definitely listen to your body and be careful. Because if you do want to get back into aerial postpartum, take really good care of it during pregnancy and don't push yourself so that you have an easy recovery.
Anna, thank you for carving out the time. I'm always impressed when somebody in their 4th trimester makes time for this podcast, because it is such an intense time. Although I am quite happy that you are seem to be doing it with smoothness and grace. So kudos to you, and I look forward to hearing more about you and seeing how everything goes as you go into motherhood for the first time. All right, my friends, if you would please honor me with a 5-star rating and review. It helps so much. There are still aerialists out there who don't know about this podcast. If you would please help me get the word out. If you would like to be a part of the podcast, please DM me at CarrieWee1. I am so easy to get a hold of, and I want you on this podcast. I want the stories to be diverse in story, in geographic location, in age, in nationality, in ethnicity, all of the things, okay? I want to hear from you guys, so please find me. And then I think that's it. Oh, yeah. Digital Podcasts. I do this podcast with Kelly McVeigh called Greener Grass. It's so fun. If you want to hear my voice twice a week, it's there for you. It's in the show notes. And have a great week. Over and out. This is Carrie and Bean from Wrap Your Head Around Silks. What would you like to say to listeners? Say bye.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye, 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 blah, blah, blah. We watched Transylvania 2 recently, and he goes, blah, blah, blah. All right, that's it. This is this is the Expecting Aerialist.